Heroic get their heads a wobble, get themselves back into it because they were caught snoozing on Oregon. Now's your time to bounce back in. Now's your last chance to really keep that dream of getting the Phase 2 qualification alive. Otherwise, you've got to battle through some other games, potentially go into last chance qualifiers, or if you're very, very lucky, into Phase 1. In fact, no, they lose this to straight into LCQ.
Interesting first ban coming in with
Face?
Not face.
With face.
What is it with this map and me saying completely the wrong word?
What did you do last time?
It don't matter if you've forgotten.
Right.
It's going to be the first ban. Dokkaebi will be followed up. So this is an interesting one. Sometimes we see the Hibana or the Maverick to sort of try and keep the hatches closed. It's not so good on the hatches. 2 out of 3 Selmas required to open just one of them. So definitely a different thought process there.
Yeah, I think it's more for getting things like church walls safely. At range, you can open these things up without any real bother. Truthfully, I think Hibana is, again, every team has their preferences, but I think Hibana's really strong for this map as well.
So
Queen of the hatches.
That's what I mean. I'm sort of like, if it is aimed at Ace opening things up, you're just going to bring Hibana. I don't know. I just feel like maybe if that's the reason for it, if it's targeting somebody, sort of fair enough. If it's just because it's you can breach your range or because of this, because he's a reasonably good operator, but I feel like you're just going to bring Hibana. And
I think most on the day would say
you could probably get better value out of an attack Hibana is what I'm saying.
People probably think that Ace as well. His gun arguably is better than the Type 89. I think most would rather pick that over the Type 89 going into a gunfight. I ain't one of those people. I friggin' love the Type 89, but here we stand. Let's see how things shape up. Then the other band that's well worth noticing on the attacking side was that Dokkaebi, fair play to Anne, 10 points. She called out on the desk. We could see that band away here. Just give yourself some more space, make it less oppressive. That's exactly what they've gone for. Otherwise, once again, it's those same 2 bands of the Azami and the Solus coming out. Azami, no big surprise, really makes downstairs a bit of a headache to attack for the attackers, obviously.
Attack for the attackers.
Yeah, weird that, isn't it? The ability for the Azami as well to make use of the kind of like beams that run across the downstairs means you can really reduce how exposed you are to the kitchen hatch, which gives you a lot more mobility on the downstairs, and that's assuming they even get through the hatch in the first place. Shouldn't be too bad here. You've got things like the Thatcher on side, you've got the hard breach gadgets, you've got the Hibana. If they want something open, Heroic will get it open.
Absolutely no excuse not to, is what I would say.
Unless you get
unless
killed on the way
somebody is able to pick up that opening frag. Tyrant is going to be the one lurking around the top of main stairs. Drones are raining in, and I think he's actually going to dip back as I am talking. He certainly is. We see him down in the site. So not a particularly big presence off site from MNM. Less than 30 seconds in, and they're all back on site. They've pretty much given up the position at top main and just dropped back. They know that Heroic will need to do a little bit of clearance just to ensure. You can see Uno is up there at the minute, but overall the reality is that they're going to be attacking onto site pretty quickly here, Heroic.
No, I didn't catch it. A little bit more. If you go a little bit deeper, you'd find it. It's a little bit. I'm going to say deeper, I mean further down the beam. You can't go any further across, otherwise it would be on the ceiling.
No.
And easily killable.
Instead, he's going to switch across to the mortar hatch. Just going to electrify that. Nif playing on the Kaid. I think just trying to keep it tricky, trying to invite them in a little bit. Maybe you just catch somebody out as they've applied pellets. The problem is when it's the Hibana opening them, it's going to be 2 pellets at a time. And even if you do catch them, it's really not that big a deal for the Hibana.
I was curious where his other ex-Kairos went, because he's already burnt through a couple of them. Other hatches have still stayed closed for the most part, but we move. Onwards they march. That'll be the kitchen hatch getting opened up. So except for one, that is all hatches opened up. Moto, I think you do want open, at least as an option later into the round, rather than just relying on these 2. But for now, they're just dumping all their utility down here, making sure they can clear through that shield that sits up towards AKs. Overall looking pretty good. Second, third EMP over the top to make sure this definitely gets opened up. That is hatch opened. Good work by Heroic, but Tim, it has taken them 90 seconds to get to this point where they can now start thinking about executing.
It has. I don't think that's the end of the world. Quite often executes onto Church and Arsenal will be in the last 15-20 seconds. We've seen it so many times. So I think they're still pretty much ahead of the curve here. They need to obviously think about progressing. They want to, if they can give themselves a second bite at the cherry, then that's the optimal. Uno is just going to go running in. There is a chance he's going to get this down.
Great answer.
Brilliant. Toxic Babe coming in there, and Tyrant is able to mop that up. Diffuser's down. Blaz gets picked up 5 versus 3, and that's a great response from MNM.
It's something a couple of teams have said is, not enough teams are making use of the pillar plant, but Heroic give it a go. MNM are there straight away with an answer with that smoke, and they punish them hard for it. Get Diffuser down and force things into a 5 versus 1. Really smart defense. Again, great idea by Heroic, but they are not going to be able to convert this into a round win.
Definitely not. Kayak just tries everything he can from bottom main stairs, but it is surely going to tick away. The time will be over, and MNM will pick up that first round. Church and Arsenal. Not the end of the world for Heroic in terms of Clubhouse, but I think the overall problem is that these rounds start to really compound. They start to really work against you, Des. That's now 10 rounds that have been played between these two sides, and Heroic have only won 2 of them. It's 8-2 overall across the 2 maps, and that's where it starts to become a real problem and starts to grind Heroic down, I think.
Well, going now into what has very quickly become the second site on this map of Gym and Bedroom. Cash CC has sort of been put on the back burner for most teams, most preferring not to go to it, given the direct breach in towards site that just slices the whole thing in half. Becomes very, very difficult to hold on to. So Gym Bedroom is where things are at, and Heroic straight away identifying in towards that are looking to rotate over and bring in the Ying. Now, I normally look at things like this and just think, actually, Ying, genius idea. For teams that are struggling to really get too much done, the Candelas are just a brute force, give us ground control that we need. And sometimes you look at it and go, okay, well, it's purely based on executing. It isn't always. Some teams make use of it to get areas of large parts of the map very, very quickly. Any players in the vicinity are basically guaranteed to be flashed, so if you don't need it for the execute itself, it's just good to get map control very quickly. What are Heroic struggling for on last map? Sometimes it was map control. So I'm glad to see that they've got this here as an option to make use of, given it was banned by MNM on the previous map.
We're gonna have,
I love that as well. Just notification everywhere.
Place and forget. You don't need to try and
just
actively bandit trick. It's annoying. It's just burning utility. Yes, Thatcher is available. Hasn't been brought this round. So work is going to have to be done just to clear that off so that you can get that cash wall open. Of course, sorry, the CCTV wall open. They want that CCTV wall because they want to control the walkway. They want to control the windows, and they can't do so without getting control of CCTV first. So definitely, that work needs to be done. Nade will come in nice and easy, clear that out, and that's going to enable them to open the wall, but it's 45 seconds rather than 15 seconds.
And now they've got to deal with the cache and the garage hold. So you've gone through step 1, but now there's another hurdle that's got not just 1 layer to it, but 2. The first one was like a tutorial level. There were no players to contest with. It was utility. It was static. It doesn't fight back. Now you've got 2 players ready to bear down on you, as 3 of you have tried to put focus on pushing in on this side of the map, and MNM is doing the great job, I think, of trying to burn through time. A total opposite approach to what we saw in round 1 when they were all back on site inside 40 seconds.
Yeah, I think Tyrant's committed to playing his life here. He's not going anywhere. You can see that he's halfway through the round already. They're still trying to push for prod. The problem is it's Uno who's going to be going in underneath potentially. He needs some serious help from Blaz here because they don't want to have that diffuser down, losing the hard breach. He doesn't know about that.
Nice try.
Tyrant gets a little bit carried away there, goes over the top rope, but the elbow drop will not land. Uno will be downed though, and the problems continue for Heroic, but they have solutions all over as Kayak manages to find users. 5 versus 3 with plenty of time left.
Yeah, I mean, 2 kills is a great spot to be in this case. Sure, you've almost lost Uno on the way through, but you've managed to force away 2. Maybe players that you're not too bothered about losing as the defenders. Sure, you lose the guns, but the gadgetry is already down. On the defensive side then, 2 Electro Bros in the Kaid and the Bandit. We've got the C4 still in back pocket too. Also looking in towards the smokes. There's still quite a bit of a capability of time wasting really for MNM here. And we're coming into the last 45. This is where Skiddy on that Ying is really going to come into his own. 2 smokes in back pocket. 4 Candelas still to work with. But Heroic haven't yet got the West Breach opened up, which really can be a bit of a lifeline here.
Certainly could. Blaz is working his way through very cautiously underneath. Makes me look over at the drones. They've still got 6 active and left in the field. So
did they miss it?
I think surprised that Blaz is maybe being so
they've got
cautious.
the one downstairs. They've got the Electroclaw on this wall as well, so it's not just the Bandit batteries, but this is up here as well. That's going to catch them off guard, and now Heroic are going to panic a little bit. They've got to make this work. They're panicking. They're going to lose their jobs, Tim. They're going in for a plan, but there's still 3 standing.
Kayak is going to be getting that diffuser down, though. Maybe he can stick this. No, important kill from Nello, and he finds himself a second Skiddy onto Solotov. It's all falling apart. Nello with a massive 4K to win the round out for MNM, and an inability to clear the utility has really cost Heroic.
Maybe not losing the jobs, but losing the place in phase 2. That's a better way of putting it. Just... you could see it building up to it as well. You know, shout out to Medics as well, because he caught it. The Electric Claw that was on that wall as well. The Bandit batteries were bait. they were in a spot where they shot them out and thought, cool, wall's open. Kayak was like, no, guys, it's still electrified. We can't get West Breach open. So then they had to have this flood coming in from the east side through construction. They were held off by a smoke canister. It was just beautiful utility use coming out from MNM. We said about the potential delay factor with the C4 on side. We had the electrification. We had the smoke canisters, and MNM play it beautifully. Sure, big on Tonello as well for getting a 4K, but really capitalize on the panic created by a really well-rounded team setup.
Here we go then.
I feel that's as close as Heroic will get as well.
I don't disagree with you at that point. I just feel like MNM have come in here super prepared. They're playing fantastically well in terms of understanding what Heroic are going to try to do. They seem to have the answers at every turn, and I'm loving what I'm seeing.
I'm also relatively interested in what's happening here. Construction hatch has been opened up. We've got castle barricades going in down.
It's holding Lounge into Garage. It's just trying to hold on to Garage catwalk.
But look how locked up it is.
We've seen it once or twice before. Yeah. It's a bit of an older setup. You've really got to hold on to Lounge, but if you achieve it, it's fantastic. It'll make it very, very difficult for Heroic potentially.
Well, it does mean that Heroic need to fight over that downstairs first. They need to get the below control, yes.
Zophia's going to be particularly important with the ranged utility to be able to clear those castles out.
Very much so, and it's that's really all they've got. I mean, you've got frag grenades, but I think any will know. Frag grenades aren't really the most reliable at getting rid of castle barricades, or just general barricades, as it might come down to it. Here we go on the drone on through. They know that someone's lurking around down here, but haven't quite found their man yet. But it's Solotov who is lurking, just ready and waiting, probably not aware that he's sat right on top of a drone in his current position. And Skiddy's wanting to blow this one away, get himself the angle upstairs, finds the man, but almost loses his own life first, down to half HP.
Tyrant Users managed to find two, and all of a sudden, in the blink of an eye, it's 5 versus 3, 5 versus 4, 4 versus 2 as an absolute flurry of kills rain in. The latest Solotov onto Skiddy, leaving us in a position now where Heroic are seriously on the back foot because they don't have garage control because they haven't been able to clear Users out. They go looking for an alternative angle, but guess what's there? Another castle barricade. They just cannot approach directly. And this has been a beautiful hold from MNM. It's one that you won't get away with every time, but they have certainly taken the opportunity to do it this time.
It's very much caught Heroic by surprise, I think. Whether or not they didn't have drones inside the building or what, I'm not sure, but identifying this and you see how heavily committed they are to the downstairs, you think maybe you'd see a little bit more of an attempt to really fight this one out. Really beautiful setup, a great way to adapt around, again, what's normally seen as a very difficult site. Sees the man stepping up, misses the headshot, but goes on the second time of asking. Down goes Blaz. Uno is all that is left standing. I don't think they've destroyed a single castle barricade this round, by the way, Tim.
No, as I say, they had the Zofia that could do it at range. Otherwise, you're looking at exothermics, you're looking at, physically hitting the barricade, and it's just not really a great way of doing it. You needed that option, and they've come in here. The thing is, let's not forget, attacker repick is a thing. They'll have gone through, they'll have seen castle, they should have seen that barricades were being deployed, and maybe should have brought a little bit more utility to deal with it. Round 2, they struggle with the utility, don't clear the electrification. Round 3, struggle with the utility, don't clear the castle barricades. It's something that Heroic need to address.
Sees the booty? No, he can't shoot the booty. This is one of those rounds I think that's going to peter out just towards its end anyway. And wouldn't be surprised if the same is back on Oregon after 3 rounds. When MNM were up 3-0, we saw a tactical timeout coming in for Heroic. Something's telling me we need to have it, and there you go. Medics just told me they have called a tactical timeout. So after this round is done and dusted, yes, there will be a conversation because they sorely need to get things back on track. This is going the same way as Oregon did, Tim.
They really... The thing is, I look at it and I say, right, what do they do? And it's a difficult question, maybe Fresh can give us a little bit more information on it. What are you thinking, Fresh?
I think it's absolutely right that they take the tactical timeout again after round 3. They won't be happy about having to use it at this point, but realistically, Heroic have been outclassed in all but 1 round of this entire best of 3 so far. And genuinely, I think MNM are outthinking them. Like you said, you just made the point about the lack of factor in round 2, but bringing the factor in round 3 when it wasn't necessarily needed. They need to be using the drone wall. I don't even really mind if it means you've losing all 5 drones in prep phase. Deal with that problem later down the line, but at least get a foothold in the map. Find out what you're against. Bring the right operators by utilising the attacker repick and actually get a foothold in the map. Clubhouse is a very checklist map. It's very 1, 2, 3. Everybody knows how to do it. Every team should have practiced it and should know how to do it. It's a real test of the leadership on the team, their thinking, the IGLs, how they can think and navigate their teams around, but also being able to coordinate with each other and bring the right operators to the right situation, which Heroic are currently not. MNM are absolutely beating them, but Heroic are not helping themselves with their operator lineups.
I think go back to what you said there about it being a checklist map as well, Tim. It's been the kind of statement about Clubhouse for years now, and why we see it as a basic map is it is checklisty. The problem is, if your checklist is how to build a dining room table and you've got a wardrobe in front of you in flat pack furniture, it's of no use to you.
Certainly not. You're just going to have to try and imagine what it should look like. And right now, the imagination of Heroic looks all but spent, Des, because they just could not find their way around any of those problems that were in front of them. You know, at the end of that round, every castle barricade was still in position that kept the Valkyrie safe inside of Lounge. It's a great way of holding on to Garage if you can get away with it. And we know how important Garage is on that site. If you can't get Catwalk, you have to go for a master-sided take. You have to get into construction. Where was that option from Heroic? You know, they just kept playing, kept banging their head into the same problem.
I think MNM here will be back on site pretty quickly again as well. Really, the only one who's out roaming, air quotes, right now was Tyrant on the Warden. Trying to snap around a couple of drones, and still is doing so, actually, looking in towards Bar, hoping to get rid of a couple of those, I think, or any would-be fast movers on the side of Heroic. There's one drone, immediately backs himself away, and Doom has just been picked off. Where? Oh, that's pretty filthy. That's horrific.
It's one of those days for Heroic, I think, where everything's just going against them. You know, every time you look away from an angle, you'll get shot from it, and, you know, we've all been there.
Lord, that is a really garish scope, isn't it?
Going to have the Cade Electrical applied, and I think, again, it's just a case of, like I suggested last time out, maybe have a little look. Oh, there's no electricity on there. Get some X-Kairos pellets, but it's on its way, and they just need to be very careful about that. I don't know if there's any information. The EMP is going to come out, which is going to mean this is unsuccessful. So well played from Heroic. They get themselves the kitchen hatch open nice and easily. And if you remember, I said dealing with utility. Got to deal with utility better. They've done a much better job of it there.
Giving themselves the option to work in through dirt here as well, just opening up that crouch size hole. Not really the kind of entryway you want into dirt, knowing someone could be peeking onto you, but it's all you've really got to work with at the moment. It gives themselves options. Kitchen's opened up, they've got dirt to push in through. No doubt they'll start thinking about Moto as the other alternative to push in. They've still got a couple of micro EMPs, impact EMPs as well to play around here, really making sure they can get through these Cade Electroclaws if they had lost the Thatcher, which I think is a good kind of double down on what they need to be doing here. Here they go on the march on 4. Blaz dropping straight in and wants to try and make something happen here.
I like that. It's pretty clever use of the EMP there, just taking out the proximity alarm and giving the opportunity to get in there without them being aware of that. Manages to get a kill. Blaz gets a second, and Blue has very quickly become a problem. Blaz is able to walk into sight, find himself 3 now. Skiddy is down, though. It's effectively 2v2.
I mean, at that point, again, Blaz has got a 3K and done it all for Heroic, and they still can't convert the round out. Uno, once again, is the last man left standing. He must be sick and tired of seeing 1vx flashing up on the screen, and normally you'd love a 1vx against MNM, the kind of team that loses them like no one's business, but here, they are not playing today. They get the close down, despite Blaz yet again having another wonderful round that should have seen Heroic through to a round win, Tim.
MNM look really impressive at the minute, and let's not forget, by getting this win, they move forward in the decider bracket, but they put themselves in a position where they just need one best of 3 win to get through to the major. That could be against Wild. It could be, if they lose against Wild in the next match, that would still get them then through to phase 1 of the major. So they will just need one more win to guarantee themselves a position in Copenhagen. And what a great performance. I talk often about form in tournaments and hitting it at the right time. And MNM, they've had a good group stage, don't get me wrong, but what a time to really hit form coming in here.
Well, it's great fun because after this they play against G2, which is going to be a great game.
Are they on the G2 side?
They're on the G2 side,
right,
yeah.
Sorry, I thought they were on
remember,
the wild side.
Doki was really gutted about potentially playing against VP, and then he's like, oh, okay, no, it's Heroic or MNM.
Yeah, I mean, the situation remains the same. One best of 3 win will see them in the major after this.
What I do love about that is I know like Doki's really good friends with a lot of these boys. Obviously, all from the UK scene. Doki used to play for what formerly was MNM, like just overall obviously did for them before the roster got picked up by Na'Vi back in the old days as well. So they just know each other really, really well. It'll be a really good competitive game between the two sides at the very least. I'm hoping so. You never know, so there might even be a surprise waiting there where if MNM keep them playing like this, they could beat G2.
They could, Doki and Nif were on Na'Vi together as well. So yeah, plenty of stories there. Should MNM get the win, there is still a chance for Heroic, and I know you might sit there and go, Ace, what are you talking about? But until
Mr. Optimist.
Until a team is done, we have seen it. We have seen teams within one round and they still come back and can get the win. It is still possible. Has the C4 been recollected?
Yes.
Yes, he's
stuck it on the hatch. Yeah.
Brilliant.
And here we go. EMP's at the very least serving them pretty good here as well, as finally we've got West Breach open. Last time round, that was the real
much better job
decider, because Kayak couldn't come pushing in with his team to flood from multiple directions. Instead, it was all about the construction push through smoke, so it wasn't really ideal for the side of Heroic. But given how close they got last time round, if you're favouring them to win a round, it's probably going to be this one.
Kayak's just going to be holding an angle from the rooftop. I think he's just preying on the possibility of that little peak to come out from Dirt Tunnel. Anybody who doesn't know it, give it a whirl in rank. Get yourself down Dirt Tunnel if you're defending gym and bedroom. You punch a little hole in the wall, you can see up onto Jacuzzi balcony. See if you can catch anybody out with it. But we've got some Vault cams that are going to be feeding information in bar. They're going to not be aware of the man moving down main stairs, but the Ana is at least being seriously pinged out.
I'm hoping that they know about the sledge that's here as well. He's just about missed his chance there. Drone taken out for free at the very least. Only the second in the round. It's something else I clocked across a few of these rounds. As Heroic actually have been pretty good with their drone play. They haven't lost tons, at least in the first 2 minutes of the round. So information hasn't really been what's been lacking. It's just been, as we've seen several times, the actual kill department is what's really let them down.
Solotov's going to start opening up some verticals. He's had enough of the yellow pings. He wants to take some action. Not going to find anybody at the minute. Blaz is trying to go fishing, but it's going to be Jumu who manages to find one, manages to catch Nerf out, and that leaves us now in a 5v4, as you say, missing that Valk cam. That could be crucial.
I mean, literally staring at it as well, but I guess it's not really the kind of place you'd look. It looks like a normal light, I suppose. Here we go, though, trying to make that mark 4. The ADS being disabled out there as well might make a spot of bother for Yuzus. Jume's coming up here as well, but shot in the back. They're looking towards completely the wrong place. He's full white flash as well. The Alder rings through, and MNM once again walk away with a small numbers advantage. This time it's Kayak left by himself in a 1 versus 2. Uno, I'm sure, breathing gay. I don't want to say a sigh of relief, but it's at least in that sort of direction. Yuzus and Tyrant standing up against him. This looks to be a 5-0 though, Tim.
Certainly does. 15 seconds left to go. Kayak, smart move, manages to recover that diffuser. Not going to have an opportunity to put it down. They know exactly where he is. The shots are raining in. It's chip after chip after chip. He's going to try to get that plank going on the other side of the reinforcement, just baiting them out for the time being. 4 seconds left to go. Manages to get one. Surely not a second. Kayak in a 1v2. What a huge moment for Heroic. That could be the momentum shifter that they need. There is a long way yet, Des. A long, long way, but it has to start somewhere, and that could be the first step.
I mean, just to make it clear, MNM are trolling. Like, why on earth you want to go for a swing when you know he's got 4 seconds on the clock, that he is forced to either push you, in which case you very clearly hear him coming towards the bedroom, or he's got to stick the plant, and what do? Both swing him. Not the play to go for, boys. I mean, admittedly, you're up 4-0. You don't mind a little bit of a 50-50, a chance to pad out the KD a little bit. You just pray now that doesn't come back to bite them in the end. Admittedly, Tim, they're still looking like the much more proficient team in this game. I wouldn't be too nervous if I were them. It is a little bit sloppy, though. It's a little bit of, I don't want to say fun, but they're really feeling themselves. They're fancying the chance. Still, a round that could have been won by MNM, and they could have been done in time for supper.
They weren't feeling anything at the end of that last round, Des, because Kayak saw to that. The thing is, I was just about to praise MNM there, and another thing that I've noticed that they're doing very well was it was 3v2. We saw the wall. We just saw the replay of the kill. We saw the wall get opened up, and Nello on the Maestro got taken out to level it at 2 versus 2. But whilst that was happening, MNM had picked up another kill somewhere else, so it was then effectively the 2v1 that we ended the round with. And for me, I was just about to praise how well they've done that. It's about the 3rd time that I've seen them do it, where they're in a man advantage situation. We're watching from Heroic's point of view, and they get a kill, they get 2 kills, but I then look at the man count, and it's still a man advantage to MNM because they've got a couple of kills somewhere else. You know, they're not allowing these things to slide. It's been very good so far, but they can't throw rounds away like that.
What I do find quite interesting here as well, we've just seen it from Nello, who's been scattering a lot of those bandit batteries around, and even when they've seen a Thatcher every single round so far, they've really committed hard to bringing Kaid and the bandit. I think on the expectation of, okay, you guys are bringing Thatcher and feeling like that's enough, you can't get rid of every single electrified object that we have got across the map, whereas a single wall, different single walls out towards the east. There's just so much going for them that they can't possibly deal with it all. It's really good stuff coming out of MNM, and a very strong commitment towards the denial game.
Doom gets caught out by Nello there. He was just trying the little crouch walk up the stairs just to try and keep himself quiet on the Iana and get some sort of action going on and maybe get into sight. I don't mind it from Heroic. They're trying to get something going, like I understand it. But MNM, again, were just one step ahead and got the opener. Uno does take Nello down in what is essentially a very late trade there, leaving us now in a 4 versus 4 at the halfway mark. And not bad progress made from Heroic. They've got the breach open at least, but they're going to need another angle of attack. It's, the same as we often say anywhere else. You can't just push in through one doorway, through one avenue. You've got to mix it up.
And they're really trying to decide here where to commit this last EMP as well that Skiddy has got in back pocket. I think they really want to get rid of the Electroclaw as well, but it's simply not going to move anywhere just yet. Trying to catch Solotov out inside a bedroom, but nothing's going to happen there. And Blaz gets banged down to the ground. Not yet taken out, but MNM, even with the breach open up, are still keeping them at bait him. As if they got him with that as well. That's unreal.
It must have been right on the edge of the cloud there, but it was enough regardless to take Blaz down. 4 versus 3, 55 seconds left to go. Kayak's going to try and work his way up main stairs, maybe try and sink this with a logistics drop, but Solotov takes out one, uses the other, and it's all falling apart for Heroic in round 6. Kayak, he's done it once. Surely he can't do it twice. 1 versus 2 it was last time. Can he do a 1 versus 4? He's got the first kill that he needs. 35 seconds left to go, but he is 1-2 HP at the most.
This is the problem. 2 of them inside the lodge as well, just waiting for him. Now, last round I said it was all but impossible. This one genuinely does feel that way. There we go. Tyrant making up amends for previous rounds for his team. 5-1, MNM in the half, Tim. And this is where we get onto the side that I was really curious about in the pre-game, given how it looks, or it doesn't really look, but how it plays out somewhat similar to how we were talking about with Oregon down in the basement. MNM were extremely good at pushing their way through Oregon and getting control of pretty much every site. The nade kills that flew on through. I was curious about Heroic and saying, okay, well, where realistically do you go after you've gone through, basement? The rest can be figured out, it feels, by MNM largely. I think Human Bedroom, I said, was the only site I thought they'd look overly comfortable on. But they're going to start things out in bar and stage and really try and surprise, I feel, MNM here in this first defensive round.
Yeah, big risk. I think coming up with the site choice, I think it's maybe one of them situations where you've got to throw the dice, haven't you, at this point? You've just got to give it a go. The thing is, if they do get this, it's 5-2, then maybe then the thought process is we're confident Church and Arsenal, we're confident in a top floor site. If we can get those won, all of a sudden it's 5-4, and maybe we're in a little bit of a different ball game. So I don't hate it, but it certainly feels like a high-risk choice.
All right, let's see if that high-risk choice pays off for them. Still waiting again to see the Stars really step up big. And I spoke about Kayak a little bit earlier on, and I was it the game? I forget which game it was we cast. I think back in the first week when we saw him have some really good performances. I remember saying at the time, for Kayak to really step up here and put up big numbers, I think for a lot of people, without wanting to be too horrible about him, he was the IGL, didn't really step up big as a go-to fragger for these teams, which is why he's always kind of been, not the last pick in a way, but he's always been kind of on the teams that wouldn't necessarily take him on towards a big level. We saw him try on G2, for example. Here he is back on Heroic. I was really impressed, not just with his leadership abilities, but also his ability to frag out. He's doing exactly the same again here in this map. Sat currently at 7-4 and leading the way over, entries that really should be shining in the likes of Doom and Blaz and even Skiddy. 3 very, very capable players that just haven't really found their way into the game yet outside of Blaz.
No, it's a big start for MNM there as well, taking down Blaz. He's one of the 2 sort of shining lights, really. Him and Kayak have been the ones that have been able to sort of do something within rounds, inject that bit of pace and energy into Heroic, but now one of them is off the board and it is not going to make life any easier. Nello is going to be bullying them with the Monty as well, which again is going to be another real sort of pain point for them, trying to deal with that situation. We're going to have capture of gadget after gadget, and
he's only got one left to catch though.
Not looking good for Heroic.
No, I mean, the prox alarm, if you're going to play off it, then fair enough, otherwise it feels like a little bit of a wasted hack in a way. But truthfully, Bravo drones don't last all that long anyway. Normally they'll get sniffed out on their way working towards side because that's how it often looks. But it does let them kind of create their way forward, and they're going in for a plant as well. The C4, oh my God! Alley-oop from Skiddy.
Thrown from downtown and hits its mark. Absolutely beautiful through the hatch. Doom, he's going to continue getting aggressive in towards Lounge, but Nath does manage to take down Kayak, and once again, it's that same situation, Des. No matter what happens to MNM, they seem to be able to fight their way back into rounds to level that man count and to give themselves at least an opportunity, a chance. You believe that they can always pull something out of the bag.
Whew, okay, 3v3 as we get into the last 60. Uno's seen enough of this nonsense, though. Down goes Nath, and that is control of main stairs and that main hallway established. These boys have got to make it work here. They bring down June, who's having a torrid time this game. 1-7 he currently sits at, not really having his impact felt. Can the last two, though, hold on against MNM?
So much time available for them. 40 seconds, drones left available as well. There's actually 7 on the field. I'd comment on that from Heroic as well. Not doing fantastic then in the information game, and that's not even including the clutch drone that you just saw from Brava. So plenty of information here for the M&M boys to work from. 20 seconds left to go. They're going to grab that diffuser. They know the angles of danger, but if they're able to push in and start putting a plant down, this could be a possible.
Going really deep on this one. I quite like it, actually. As long as they don't know where he's planting, this could come out really well. They've got to hold the cross, mind you. Skiddy's in a good spot to be able to get through the floor here. A call at the last second to step away. He's got to make the plant work, but the vertical might work against them here if they're not too careful. Ping's coming through, sprays through the floor, but Yuzus gets to finish it off. He came so close. He had the right position, but couldn't find his man. Looks like it's going to be 6-1 to MNM unless Skiddy can clutch.
He's really going to have to find these 2 kills first. There is no way around it, and they've managed to get themselves into a great cross here. 1 on either side. Skiddy can't fight both at the same time, but they allow him to take them 1 at a time, and that is a big mistake from MNM. They had them on either side, Des. They did such a great job of getting that diffuser down, and they just didn't push quickly enough when 1 challenge was taken. You've got to be there ready to impact on it, and what a clutch coming in from Heroic.
What I'll definitely give to Skiddy there, though, is isolating those 1v1s. Yep. We talk about it all the time in these 1vx's, is don't let them come for you in a crossfire. If you've got to go to them, try and isolate those gunfights, and he did that perfectly, making sure the brick walls was to his right, so the Lion could not get involved, wins the first 1v1, and spins on the dime for the second. Great play by Skiddy, but I can't help but come back to the only 2 rounds they've won has been off the back of 2 1v2s, one by Kayak and one by Skiddy. This C4.
It's just unreal, isn't it?
Bloody.
Just watch the arc on this. It's Skiddy as well. What a way to start a round and what a way to end it. He's practiced that one. Practiced that one.
He's
no
been
2 ways
in
about
practice
it.
a good few times.
I was hoping we were going to get a replay of this. Just watch Tyrant here. He actually starts trying to body block. He's not even looking for the. He's in ADS, but he's just trying to get himself in the way of those bullets, and I don't hate it. I think, what a great teamwork there, just trying to soak up some damage to ensure that diffuser goes down, but at the end there, the timing was just half a second off, Des, and it shows the fine margins that we are working with. That is agonising for MNM. They should be 6-1 up.
Would you take a bullet to me like that? In Siege?
No.
In Siege?
Absolutely not.
What?
Des, there's no way you'd be planting.
There is.
There's no way you'd be planting
I play a lot of ace.
with me left alive.
That is a good point. I'll drop the diffuser and tell you to take
exactly that.
I'm your cover man.
No
I'm your cover man.
I'll be honest, I wish a few people, I'm not naming any names, but I'm wishing a few people would start body blocking some bullets for me when I'm planting. They know.
They know. And they happen to be in this room.
Nah, Fresh is good cover.
Is he?
Yeah.
All right.
Eustace picks up an opener onto Skiddy, so the hero of the last round is going to be taken out early in this one.
That's the thing, right? These moments of joy for her, I mean, they wouldn't even call it a moment of joy. We saw the player cams after. The players looked a bit serious and no one else had an expression on their face. They are very short-lived. They know the pressure they're under. They know it feels like a mountain to climb at this point.
Going to take out the Gemini decoy there, so they will know the position, but no, they're not going to react to it, and Doom is able to take out Solotov from CCTV window. That's a beautiful kill coming in from Heroic there. It's, sometimes you got to make a move, Des. Sometimes you got to show that aggression, and that's exactly what they've done. I don't know if they know one's following behind. Tyrant does. Nello manages to take out Uno. Blaz on the trade, but it's all now down to Kayak once again. But Des,
what a weird round.
1 versus 3. This seems to be the sort of situation Heroic thrives in. So
I mean, Kayak and Skiddy especially, yeah, it's almost like they're putting themselves in these situations deliberately now, but what's most interesting about this is it's a downstairs defense, but Heroic have gone super aggressive in trying to take gunfights around the map, and they have paid the price where MNM have just come ahead in every single fight, and even when Heroic have got one back, MNM are straight there to recapitalize again. Really good round from them once more, and with 60 seconds to play, MNM, I'm crossing my fingers when I say this, have no excuse to lose.
Mozzie drone is just going to prevent access to the drone. The Mozzie pest rather, just preventing access to the drone. Kayak able to take it down. But still 1 versus 3. Let's not forget 48 seconds left to go. I like that MNM aren't rushing this. You know, you don't want them to be throwing themselves into these situations, given how 2 of them have gone so far in this matchup. You know, Kayak has really got his work cut out. Takes down another drone. Still 5 on the field, though. It's not going to be easy. He's got his teammates on comms, just looking at the cams, trying to feed any information they can, and Kayak just trying to be as slippery as he can down on that bottom floor, but it's unlikely to be successful. I think Nath could get the diffuser down here.
I mean, he's not sitting by himself. He's looking for these 1v1s again, but User's just crouched down. Kayak not quite able to react in time. Again, I did like how he was moving around. He wasn't trying to make it too
good,
obvious.
Good effort.
Yeah, exactly that.
Nice try.
Nice. NT in
the chat.
NT.
Didn't work out for him.
But by the looks of it, Heroic are running on empty.
It's certainly looking that
They're
way.
coming into the last round. They've got, again, 4 rounds to win back. It's an exact replica of what happened in the last game. Map.
I'm sure there's going to be, you know, I'd expect there to be a lot of frustration coming out of, you know, Heroic after this. They've met an MNM team that have been very good, but equally, you know, they know that they can be much more competitive than this. They've shown it is through the stage. They've just really not shown up on the day, and unfortunately, that does happen sometimes. It's just, you know, wrong performance, wrong time, and it's going to see them down in the LCQs.
That's it. Well, hopefully they can rally themselves back together, because they started this stage strong. They looked really good on the first day with their 7-0. All right, maybe I should stop saying that. They look good over TT9. Most teams have with that 7-0. There was traces of brilliance in there as well. You know, you've seen the odd moment out of players like Blaz today. Kayak and Skiddy have had their moments in the limelight as well. But it's about making it consistent is the issue that currently they're missing on. And I'm hoping we do see it come out in the LCQs. Time will tell on that front. But here we go with what could be the last round.
Here we go then, Jim and Bedroom it will be. Can Heroic show us anything better? Doom is currently still deploying cams around the map. One goes in lounge. Oh no, it was all the way down in blue actually, I think he was when he deployed that camera. So interesting that they're concerned with the entirety of the map, not just what's going on the top floor. Doom going to be heading his way back up now. We've got the bandit batteries applied to east wall. All looking pretty standard so far.
There we go.
Maybe not quick enough on this one, though. That's going to get opened up, no problem.
There we go. Stuck a black card just right above it, though, as it opened up, which they might not have seen on the drone in the first place, because they feel they've already got the knowledge they need of that breach, so could prove to be a really effective cam coming out from June. Don't believe it would have been taken out there either as well. Maybe not quite what you're looking for with the X-Kairos, but the next couple do work out. But here they go. With being able to trick them away, that mirror is going to stay online.
Slightly too quick a quick peek, and Skiddy able, as you say, to deal with those. Uno's going to continue playing in the shower for the time being, and he's going to make, obviously, that jacuzzi breach a difficult place to be able to push from. Nath, however, is going to open up the construction wall, and as you will see, Skiddy's everywhere. He tries to go for it, but he knows he's too late. Once the exothermic, once you can hear it, once it's there, it's just too late. June manages to get a double in the round, though, to kick things off. Heroic 3 versus 5. They're in the advantage here, and they're looking pretty good, but no, Nello manages to walk in and get Kayak. Can he find himself another?
Created a lot of space for his team there as well, I think, by making that breakdown main stairs. If it didn't work out, they'd be sat in a 2v5. So with that play, opens things up at least a little bit for his team. Kind of puts a thorn in the side of Heroic, who've now got to be mindful of a player that's, you know, in enemy territory on main stairs and is threatening the movements they're possibly allowed to make. But now really the onus comes onto the other 2 players in MNM and what they can do.
Just got a good view from the drone there of Nath onto a player. Don't have any nades, so they can't really impact on this underneath. But still, we know that information is king in Siege. So if they can at least utilise that position, there could be a freebie coming around. They know to expect it, but no, Users unable to find that blast. Even with the information working against him, still finds his man, and it's Nath left all alone out on the balcony in a 1v4.
All right, so Heroic do extend it at least by another round here. Still 3 more to go if they want to try and send us back to overtime and potentially onwards towards Chalet, but it feels like a big ask at this point. For MNM as well, it kind of proves to be a slight timeout for them here to have a conversation about how they close this out in the next round. The difficulty for Heroic being, Tim, let's not forget, they've got to rotate through all 3 sites they've played so far on this map as well to try and make this work.
Yep, Nerf just having a little wiggle around under the window there, maybe hoping to pick himself up a kill or 2, but Uno is well aware of his position and he's not going to give himself away so easily. So the time will tick by, the round will go to Heroic, and we will find ourselves at a position where Heroic at least have got themselves another round back, 5-3, but MNM, you just feel, sorry, 6-3, you just feel there's, it's a matter of time at this point. Heroic, there's no more mistakes left for them. They're really going to have to battle hard to close this out.
The thing is as well, MNM have got all the potential in the world here to pull out a rush round or do realistically anything they want to try and make this work. Again, 3 rounds to play with, 3 different sites to rotate through, assuming Heroic keep on winning. At some point, I do feel like that armor is going to crack.
Yeah, I would agree with you. I think there's a matter of time. MNM are going to have their opportunity, and with the way they've played so far, outside of the 1vx's, you do feel like they're going to take that opportunity, they're going to step through it now. A slightly different setup coming out of Uno, it's only marginally, the rotation is still there into blue, just in a slightly different position. Actually quite like this, he's got his deployable shield so he can play on towards Moto as well. He's actually going to take the reinforcement closer in towards that blue wall, maybe prevent any sort of utility being dumped into sight from the hatch. I quite like that.
Alrighty, into the basement we go. Normally the go-to site on this map as well, so maybe you're feeling a little more optimistic about Heroic's chances to win things out here. That mirror on side once again pointed in towards blue. Not sure whether they're going to skip the second one, probably inside of church, looking on towards main stairs. They are kind of the go-to locations on this site. One more reinforced, one less soft, gives them the ability to sidestep that mirror window and spray towards main stairs as and when they fancy the opportunity.
Let's see what MNM do then. They're going to be going in trying to clear out. They've got, I think it's Doom on the warden just out on the roaming bar, supported a little bit by Blaz, but it doesn't look like they're going to overcommit, much like MNM didn't, to be honest with you. They started in a similar position and then just pushed themselves back to site after 30 seconds. It looks like that is pretty much the same game plan for Heroic. So MNM need to recognise this, get themselves in quickly, take control. They can take the top 2 floors, start opening hatches. They've got the utility on side, they've got the Thatcher EMPs, they've got everything they need in order to do that, and then just really start pressure inside as soon as possible. Really put Heroic under it here, I think. Get them backs to the wall and let them know that you're out to win.
I think Roman, it's nice as well. About 45 seconds in the ball clock to right. No one's around. Let's get on drones. Let's get ourselves set up for the rest of this round. As every single player pretty much dived onto drones. In fact, you can see it now. Outsider users just getting off. All 5 players on drones to make sure they can watch the flanks. They can get the information they need and decide what the push is going to be. And I imagine there's going to be, again, a focus on getting the Moto hatch opened up, given the fact that the stock one is soft. So 2 hatches to worry about. Maybe dirt to worry about opening up as well. And then they can start pulling off the execute they're thinking about. Where are the EMPs going to come in is the big question as well, I imagine here. Yeah,
we've had a lot of juggling of the electricals. As I said, the Kaid tricking, it is a difficult one to pull off, much more so than things like bandit tricking, but obviously not possible on hatches, so you're sort of limited really to that option. But a couple of EMPs will usually do the job. As you'll see, the second one comes out. As that goes off, it will disable the claw, and that is going to be the hatch open for MNM. 1 minute 10 left to go, and I'd like to start seeing some kills coming in. We're still at 5v5. MNM don't want to leave it too long.
That shield, I imagine, below. Okay, no shield there. It's already gone. So, bit of a precarious spot for Doom here where he could be pushed onto pretty hard, but looking at Heroic, they're stacked up so much out towards the east, all ready to go for this one, and yep, Doom has actually got the shield still in back pocket. He could drop that down now that everything else has come out, and there we go. Out it comes, shields back up. Even though the nades have all rained on through, this is going to stay put, Tim.
Solotov is going to find an opener onto Skiddy, though. That is a big start for MNM. 35 seconds left to go, but it feels like it's going to come down to one of those last 10-second bloodbaths that we so often see here, and then it is absolutely anybody's. It's not really something I think that Heroic want to face. They'd rather get themselves into a position of advantage, but there's nothing else they can do other than wait. Blaz managed to pick up one, June with another onto Nello, and it's looking like Heroic are taking the advantage. Beauty from June, but 2v2 Des.
And here they come as well. One's trapped here inside of dirt. They just need to hold the angle. This should be done and dusted as long as they don't lose another 1v2. Uno steps up to the plate, but he can't do it. MNM take the win, a pretty cozy 2-0, and and they proceed to fight against G2 on Monday.
What a matchup that's going to be. I'm expecting to see great things out of this MNM side after that performance. A good understanding of what was needed from them and just clinical most of the time. There's a couple of bits they can work on there, but overall, very, very good from MNM. Impressed with them and one win away from a major.